Okay, this is a follow-up video from the last one that I made. I was thinking about, someone left a comment about their opinion about Samantha Brick. Now, beauty is subjective, okay? What one person might think is beautiful, another may think is just kind of or, maybe even ugly, okay? But, I'm looking at her age, and compared to a lot of the people that I've met myself, and I'm going to say that maybe she's not extremely beautiful, but do I think Samantha Brick was good looking? I would say she's a nice looking woman, okay? And that's not really the point or the issue. The issue is she was talking about her personal experiences, and people bashed her for what she was herself experiencing. Now, I'm not saying that, and I'm not going to say that women get gang stalked specifically for that reason, although I do believe that there are. I just stumbled upon an article about women behaving, the way women behave in workplaces and how they have in the past sabotaged many women's careers based on that common, catty type jealousy. But in my case, like I said, my targeting started off as a domestic issue, and family and my people that I worked with kind of, started talking, assuming, and, Facebook just kind of made things explosive. And so there was a lot of jealous women on the sidelines wanting to strike out. Now, the whole root of the whole issue, I am still not quite sure on. I know that my family has been stalking me for many years, but how everything got to the point of where it is, I'm still trying to figure that one out. Now, I do know that Vicki Murray, when I left the farmer's place, I was looking for my letter of recommendation, which the farmer mentioned that he was going to give that to me before I didn't even ask him for it. He told me he was going to write one up. So I remember following up, asking Vicki Murray about the letter of recommendation, and she basically said she had no interest in helping me. So Vicki I remember her, kind of coming up to me, telling me that her rude behavior was based on karma. So Vicki Murray personally thinks that because I lied to my husband, I deserve to be treated the way that I do, because Vicki Murray is a white supremacist as well as her husband, whether they realize it or not. I did a better job for the Murrays. I basically did and picked up where everybody else left off. So my job search should not have been difficult after I left the Murray's place, okay? Vicki Murray's a fucking cunt. So I'm at a point right now where I'm just being able to say all the things I've wanted to say to whoever, and I could say it right directly into their face, only because this is extreme, okay? What I experienced was ridiculous and completely unwarranted. And so, when I think about the hostility that I have experienced from, companies that are supposed to be reputable, and they're basing my issues based on assumption, okay? So basically, I'm getting treated like shit from all these agencies and companies in general based on assumption, okay? Now, there's a lot of racism that goes on in this town, and I do believe a lot of it has to do with race. A lot of it has to do with, catty women, which I've already talked about that, but I don't believe it's the main thing. It's just an element of it. So right now, I'm trying to figure out what the hell, or how do I even start, I know I have to continue with activism, but I can't continue going to that shitty job every day. I just can't do it. It's too draining, and it is a form of harassment, okay? I don't want anything to do with those people. Shouldn't be there in the first place. The fucking bitch Joe, the secretary, is a stupid racist bitch that I can't stand looking at, and she knew exactly that this whole job setup was illegal, unethical, and completely unwarranted. And so she has to sit here and try to pretend that she's an ethical person when I can tell she's nothing but trash. So I'm dealing with a lot of shit right now, and I have a lot on my shoulders, My family had no right to choose my job, and no one has the right to choose my jobs, and I don't want any, people made a lot of assumptions based on my Facebook picture, which is crazy, and I do believe that this is the main source, or it's making it easier for people to destroy the lives of other people, But when an employer sees things on Facebook or whatever, they should never participate in this in the first place. So I'm devastated on so many levels that no one even considered my personal needs and desires in this issue. And so basically I'm working a piece of shit job, and I basically hate everybody at that job. So, and I don't have any reservations about saying it. You know, I would tell that to my own mother if I had the opportunity to. You know, when people disrespect me, I have no respect for them, okay? I don't have any respect for Vicki Murray, okay? Vicki Murray is basically a fucking attention whore who fucking probably is in her marriage because she's fucking a gold digger of some sort, because I don't have any respect for the goddamn Murrays. You know, I was nice to them. I kept everything confidential. When I left that place of employ, I did everything right to protect my interest as well as the employer's interest. He didn't give a fuck. He had it in his mind that he was going to choose my next job, which was bullshit. Bullshit. Okay? I don't want anybody choosing my job. I'm deserving of so much more. One thing for sure, I have to stay in accounting. You know, and whether I'm a manager or not, I have to stay in accounting. I don't have any other skills. You know, and this whole situation needs to be looked at, you know, for what it really is, okay? I'm more qualified, regardless of what these people and the colleges that they've gone to. I'm far more qualified than they are, okay? And what makes it even more heated is that I'm a black African-American person, and I am basically dealing with, now I'm not saying everybody in this town is wrong, but I'm dealing with a lot of inferior white people who have a hard time dealing with the fact that I'm superior intellectually than they are. And like I said, I'm not saying that the whole town's like that, but all my perps and everybody's involved in this, I'm better than you! So, anyway, it's important that I get this out, you know, and I'm glad that this sheds light on the people that I used to know, and the answer is, I mean, I really want to get away from everybody who put me in this situation. And some people might say, well, you know, you complicated your own life, you did this yourself. Like I said, between me and my husband, okay, I didn't do anything at all, okay, so all these people are basically punishing an innocent person. So for the women who got involved in this, and I didn't really have a good relationship with you, I will assume that you're just a catty bitch who wants to sit here and take out your frustrations on me. Because, you know, if I never met you before, you have no reason. Like, for example, Christy Siffer. You know, why in the world would somebody do that? Unless, of course, she's doing it from a racist angle, or she's a catty bitch, okay? She's basically harassing somebody who's done nothing wrong. And so, you know, how could you not? How could you not, you know, how could this not affect your sleep? How could it not affect your entire life, you know, to where you're obsessed about it? Because this is such a terrible injustice. You know, I can't stop talking about it, and I can't help but worry, you know, because to me, how could people not see that this was wrong? And the fact that it got to the point that it did, it's traumatizing. And like the girl said, it's so funny because that video that I connected to my, I think her name is Laura, forgot her last name. She's for the British lady. How she was talking about these situations are extremely traumatizing, you know, for whatever reason. The very fact is when you go to a job interview, you expect to discuss your skills and you expect to be taken seriously. You don't expect people to sabotage and destroy your fucking life. You don't do that. And so I'm going to say that Steve Murray and his fucked up wife are nothing but trash. If I had the ability to boycott his company, I would, and I would certainly constantly talk about it so that people would see that these people are not the, you know, wholesome people that they want to portray on these billboard signs. They're trash. So I don't have any sympathy or warm feelings towards anybody that I used to work with. I'm angry, I'm pissed off, and just like, you know, this should, at my age, this should have never happened. Never happened, okay? I'm too old to be in this situation. There's people who are in worse situations than I am. There's some people who have no jobs. Take a look at the homeless people now. Some of these people on these streets, they may deserve to be out in the street, but I think a lot of them have basically had people turn them away and put them in this situation because there's a lot of employers and agencies who, like I said, want to play God. They want to feel powerful, and they've abused their power. So everybody in this situation abused their power. Now, Joanna Chavez at VIPO is still working at her job when her ass should be fired, okay? But, of course, Trevor, whatever his name is, Trevor the owner and James, I guess, they're going to sit here and turn a blind eye to it because corruption is normal for them, okay? I personally would not want to deal with a company that participates in domestic stalking or gang stalking, which is what this company has done. I don't have a problem with naming names. I don't care. I don't give a shit. What are these people going to take from me? Okay? Because I'm going to continue to talk about this, and I'm all till the day I fucking die, okay? Till the day I fucking die. Because this is how severe and this is how traumatizing this issue is. I mean, I'm basically demonstrating that I am far more experienced than the people who got involved in this, okay? Anybody from here in this town to Los Angeles and all these other states that have contacted me, they should have never did what they did. And I know this, okay? I'm superior. So why am I sitting here? Injustice, you know? So I can't help but talk about it. So here's a black woman who has less education than these white people, the white perps, okay? I'm not saying all white people, but the white perps who claim to have gone to, some of these people probably have gone to maybe Ivy League colleges, perhaps, maybe, okay? And yet I still am far more experienced than they are. So, especially in a town that's known for racism, that's got to sting a little bit. Have a great day. Bye-bye.